What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Passive Tree Podcast. I'm your host, Blaze, and we are going to be talking about all things PoE2, life, and everything in between. Today on episode 38, I'm joined by a fellow PoE2 content creator. It's none other than Kadachi. Welcome on, and how the heck are you doing today, sir?
Doing pretty good. Can't complain. It's been a pretty dry day, but we're chilling. Glad to be here.
Yeah, I'm so happy that you're here as well. So you are actually one of the first people to reach out to me, actually, to be like, yo, Blaze, I want to talk to you on your podcast about PoE2 and life and all that stuff. So I just want to say thank you so much for reaching out. I appreciate it. And I'm happy that we could make this work, dude.
Of course, man.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I definitely like admire people who like take the initiative. That's kind of how I got my start with Try. I actually bothered him way too much. Sorry, Try. I bothered him so much, and he finally decided to come on the podcast. And the ball started rolling from there. So I think it's really good that you're kind of like out there doing your thing. Reaching out to people, connecting with people, and stuff like that. So yeah, what have you been up to, man? I know that PoE2 is kind of in this like a little bit of a dry spell right now. It's like 2 months in. People are losing a bit of interest. How are you feeling about everything?
So I feel I'm getting there. I get asked a few times, like, dude, how do you keep playing this game? How do you keep enjoying it? And I always tell people, even just not just me, any other content creator, we always have a different motive than I guess any normal person who just wants to play the game and enjoy it. But mine is always just build crafting, and as long as there's always builds to be made, I'm kind of enjoying myself. Most people want that end game, which I'm sure we're going to talk about later on in this. But that's not really what drives me and keeps me on the game. It's mostly just build crafting. But I'm running out of ideas, so I've definitely been playing other stuff here and there just to cleanse myself a bit. And it does feel nice to take a little break. We've been on this for a while. So there's that.
Yeah, absolutely. No, anytime my stream title is challenge run, it usually means that it's the league has offered everything that it has to offer me, and that's how I extend my time. I've been doing like challenge runs the last couple streams, and it's been really fun. It's another way to refresh interest. I really enjoy doing it. In terms of build crafting, and I don't know how you feel about this. I'm super excited to hear how you feel, but for me personally, with 0.4, it's felt like there's always something new for me to want to play. And I think, especially being an SSF and HC guy, it takes me a lot longer to like get ready to start a new character. How have you felt with like the build variety and build craft in 0.4?
So with the temple being introduced to the game and the economy basically being what it is right now, it's honestly been pretty decently good. Sometimes if I'm trying to do a really unorthodox type of build and I'm looking for a certain item and it's not there on the market because most people are kind of crafting that item but a little different for one of the meta builds and it's a little more expensive, that can be troublesome here and there, but for the most part, I don't find it too hard to put things together, especially when it's a little more original rather than it being like one of the meta builds out there.
Okay, I got you. Yeah, I feel like for me, 0.4 has definitely felt like the best build diversity we've ever had. I mean, you've played the game since 0.1. We kind of had these like very specific S tier builds that have kind of existed, starting off with like attribute stacking, Tempest Flurry and 0.1. There was the, of course, notorious Lightning Spear meta in 0.2. 0.3, it started to feel like it started to open up again. Like it started to feel like there was a lot more potential builds. I know a lot of people got really attached to like Lightning Arrow and whatnot.
Yeah.
But if we looked beyond that, there was a ton of other opportunities. And then at 0.4, it was like I like couldn't stop thinking about the next character, the next build and whatnot. It was a really good feeling. It was really refreshing. And it felt like there was a lot of like S tier builds. Like I started off with Tactician, played grenades, insanely strong league start. I did an ice shot Amazon that was very, very fun. And then I did shield wall on the Witch Hunter, which was just like, oh my God, like I love Sorcery Ward. It's my favorite thing in the
Social
game
reward
now.
is absolutely nuts.
It's so good, dude. I really hope that they don't mess with it because I like they buffed the heck out of it in
Yeah,
0.4, right?
I
And
think it's
I don't know if it's
fantastic.
if it's broken or if it's not. Like it feels like it's in a good spot now, but that might only be because of like the life issue, which we can also talk about if you want to. But yeah, I'm pretty excited about the direction. And the crazy thing is, dude, like we don't have all the classes, we don't have all the ascendancies, we don't have all the weapons. Like there's gonna be so much possibility. Even just like having the talisman in 0.4 has opened up so much in terms of
Oh,
builds.
yes.
Yeah, how was your experience with like the talisman? Did you end up cooking some stuff up with that?
So I league started the Wyvern just because I wanted to try it out. I thought it was super cool. I did the oil barrage, and then once I started seeing like, okay, everybody saying this is pretty nuts, I strayed away from it for a bit. I saw all the transformation builds going on, but then I started working on like a reverse chill werewolf, and I saw the wolf really scaled a lot with attack speed, so I was like, why not try reverse chill with it? And that was super fun. But other than that, no, we've really just been playing with that, and that's really been it.
Yeah, that's fair. I hate to admit it, I'm a bad gamer, but I have barely used the talisman at all. I think I've done like 10 minutes of like wolf play. Maybe that'll actually be my next character next week. We'll actually like give it a shot and do the whole like talisman playthrough. I have the
You
one
should.
unique one that like transforms you into a demon, which is like
Mhm.
super sick.
Yeah, that one
So there's
popped
some
off.
yeah, there's something there. So in other aspects of the league, you know, what are your general thoughts about like the state of the game right now? Where are places that you feel aside from build variety that are in a good spot, and where are other parts that you're feeling like are pretty mid or could be improved?
So I personally would not say like much of the game is in a good spot, just because I think it's just forever progressing. It's always going to be getting better and changing throughout the league, and I don't think they've reached that point where we could say this is good. I think we still need more. I definitely think things like in-game, a few quality of life things, and I play console, so definitely a lot more on the quality of life side. But a lot of people want it in-game this season. Do we know what people wanted from in-game? I don't know, but we needed a lot more player retention. Um, it lasted a lot with the temple, but for me, I didn't do the temple that much. I'm more of a in-map mechanic type of guy. I don't like mechanics that take me elsewhere. And for me, it just felt a bit repetitive, and it's also a bit broken. I don't like too broken things. Like if it's too OP, I'm not gonna be too drawn to it. You have infinite lives, and you can just instantly print divines as long as you just build a temple, right? But that would really be it.
No, I hear you, man. The temple has been, of course, I think the most loved and the most hated part of 0.4. For a lot of people, it's enabled them to get to level 100. Like level 100 prior to 0.4 was an insane achievement. It still is an insane achievement, especially if you're playing like SSF or HC or both. But there's a reason why more people have hit level 100 than ever before with 0.4. The temple scaling to your level, it's basically like running juiced T16 maps all the time. T16 maps is another thing that I feel like is just an insanely weird in a weird spot right now where it feels like if you're SSF, it is a absolute luxury item, something that you barely get enough of to not only like sustain but run when you want to. And so, yeah, I'm curious to see where we'll find the temple and where it's going to fit in like the ecosystem of content. Right now, I get it. It's 0.4. It was the new shiny thing, the new shiny toy for the league. Let the people enjoy it. Let it be a little bit broken, let people cook with it if they want to. What do you think, like, the best solution or, like, I guess, like, fix or change that the temple should go through to make it so that it actually fits in well while not being, like, too strong?
So I definitely think that they should nerf it on the high end. It I don't think it should print mirrors. Like it simply just shouldn't print mirrors. And I don't know, like obviously GGG put it in the game, right? They always leave it up to the players. I don't really know if it was their goal for it to just giga print divines. I for one would do the temple for its uses, like Val currency or the new body parts, which I didn't really get to play with at all this season because I'm always making new characters and dying and testing stuff. But like Itziri farming was pretty good. I did that a bit, going for the new chess piece. Um, she could use a buff to her item drops. That would be cool. But past that, I mean, well, after you complete the architect and you get to add lineage supports to the rooms, and currency rooms could use a little buff maybe, but that's really it.
No, I hear you, man. So I was in my friend Everseen's stream yesterday, and he was talking about how maybe a potential solution for the temple would be to cap the top end. So instead of having it essentially be as infinite like rarity scaling and infinite effectiveness and stuff like that, you could only get it up to a certain point, maybe like 200% or whatever the number that GGG would land on, and that might work. And I think the rarity thing is a whole other separate issue. Like, I don't know personally if GGG is going to keep the same rarity system moving forward. A lot of people don't enjoy this whole like meta of having to have a certain amount of rarity to be optimally farming and getting currency and stuff like that. What are your thoughts about that? I know you're making builds. Are you thinking about that aspect while making your builds?
Honestly, not really, to be honest. Like I heavily focus on trying to do mechanics that don't require rarity. I've been asked in like a few of my videos, like, oh, why aren't you use especially last season in 0.3 where 150% was like a must if you wanted to farm. And I was like, why aren't you running 150 rarity? Can this build fit it in? And my problem with rarity is you can't always fit it in every build while making it functional. This season, maybe I haven't, like I said, I don't build towards that, so I haven't tested it too much. The Ritualist is typically the go-to for stacking high rarity, right? I'm sure you could reach 150 on any skill that's super high damage and doesn't require you to sacrifice too much, but it's never really my goal. And I do think it should be changed. Maybe not 150, maybe 100. I'm not the one to be making those type of decisions.
It's a sad thing though, because you do a lot of builds, you come up with a lot of like unique ideas or play off of a lot of existing systems and mechanics that create these really cool and interesting builds. But like the sad thing is that when people look at these things, they're like, "Wow, this is such a cool build. How much rarity does it have?" Right? Like, where how many divines per hour is this build going to be getting me? And it kind of like discredits like the I guess the whole like build creation process where you're actually like solving damage, solving defenses, like utilizing interesting synergies between skills and items. And yeah, so I think it definitely, in my opinion, detracts from that. And I've said this a million times, but I think that they should either just get rid of it entirely or make it so that it applies to unique items the same way that Diablo 2 has done it. Like you know, having this one stat line that completely for the most part is like like a necessity, especially if you're playing softcore and you want to make money and not fall behind and stuff. It just feels like it's not in a good spot. And the weird thing is, Kadachi, they had the same problem in PoE1. So they've solved it. They had like quantity on gear, which was essentially like for all intents and purposes like the same thing. So my opinion, I don't think we're gonna see it, like, especially going into, like, 1.0 potentially this year, like, I think it's gonna be gone, dude.
I would I I heard about the PoE1 rarity thing and how it affects uniques, and I think that would be a good idea, especially with divination cards being in PoE1. I think that's what we need mostly is divination cards. That would help a lot, but the unique chasing definitely adds a bit more. Then we would just need more mechanic. People would lose out on that dopamine. That's what people want. It's the dopamine of currency drops, and that's why so many of my friends that I see running this temple farming it, they just do it because they want the dopamine of those currency drops. Now it's you get so many divine drops. You want a Hinocor's lock or you want a mirror, and it's if we lose that next season, I'm sure we are right. It's gonna change, or even going forward in the future. If we just have to see. I think maybe if we do change it, more meaningful, unique drops, right? But we'll have to see.
No, that's a great point. I think we've been conditioned now. We've all we've all been conditioned by the casino to like really look for those tinks, right? And it's gotten to the point, as you mentioned, where the divines aren't even like stimulating those dopamine receptors anymore. It's just the locks, it's just the mirrors, it's just the headhunters, the rite of passages, like the really insanely rare items. Those are the things that people are getting excited about because divines are just so common if you end up getting that temple to a certain point. And I think I completely agree with your take about the unique items too. Like if they moved in a direction where rarity affected unique items only and not currency, I think it would provide that initial dopamine hit when rare currency drops because it's still going to drop eventually and it's going to feel great. It's going to be more meaningful when it does. But they have to balance it out with making unique items better because I don't know how you feel about this because you're like a more of a softcore on the softcore side of things. You probably have a lot more opportunity to like take advantage of different unique items that I may not be able to use. But I do think that we're like still in this weird state right now where a lot of these unique items have too much of a drawback or are very niche. Yeah, what are your thoughts about like the state of uniques in the game right now?
So, and especially like going from zero point 0.1 to zero point 0.3, there was a lot of things where I was like, dang, I really hate this negative on this unique. Like Ming's Heart is one of my favorite uniques in the game. It gives you like 40% extra chaos damage, but it gives you like 20% reduced max life and 20% reduced global defenses. So like that's a huge shot in the face. Veiled in the Night gives you instances, but a lot of max life. So like one could say that's a good trade-off if we're actually life stacking, but I do feel like there's some.
Uh-oh, I think you might have froze. We
Oh
might have
yeah,
lost Kadachi here. Oh wait, you're back. So
I'm
bad.
good.
Yeah, we're
I'm
good.
good. Okay. But I'm just like, why would I use this? And there's just so many better options. They should just buff this unique, take out this negative.
Yeah, I feel like especially when it comes to hardcore, as I mentioned, like there are so many of these things that are just like unusable, and I think a lot of it has to do with like the whole plus to scale issue. Like there's so many cool unique amulets in the game, but when you use a unique amulet, you often forfeit +3, you forfeit 50 spirit, you forfeit 30% global defenses, some resistances, some rarity. Like if you
Oh
have a
yeah.
good amulet, it's hard to ever consider using a unique item there unless it's like solving a very specific like problem or enabling your build in a very specific way. The same thing can be said for like weapons for the most part as well. Weapons are just like if you're not using like a max plus to skill roll in a weapon, you're getting a lot of IPD or flat elemental damage. Like there are just so many situations where like the unique weapons in the game just fall so short to these rare items. So yeah, hopefully in 0.5 we see a shift, maybe some new uniques that are like really, really rare. Like I'm talking like Headhunter, Rite of Passage rare, but are like holy shit, this is like an insta equip. I think we need some of those. One thing that I really liked about unique items is lineage support gems. As a build crafter, how has lineage support gems kind of fallen into the like build craft side of things?
So lineage gems have been actually really good. Things like what Dialia is for the +1 equality, that support's just super good across a lot of skills. There's this helmet in the game. I don't Soulless Ips. It lets you run two lineage gems. I feel like I've used that maybe in like two different builds, but it gives you a lot more variety because you get to run two lineage gems. There's the Herald lineage support tech where you get the armor break explosions. That's super good. I see a lot of people using that now. The Zesh lineages are really good for depending on what build you're using, whether it be chill or shock mag stacking off of chaos damage. I use chaos damage a lot within my builds. I was running Ming's Heart for maybe like four different builds with those chaos lineages. So definitely good. I still think there's a few niche ones out there that could use some buffs. Maybe not buffs. They're probably missing those builds that would probably make them work a lot better. Um, Past that, I mean, what was it? The bloodletting that was OP. I'm glad that's a
Yeah.
lot better now. Um,
Yeah.
I used that a bit this season, and it's pretty good. Not broken, but it's definitely pretty good. What is it? Katal's Rejuvenation. That's a really good lineage gem for the remnants to cool down recovery. That's also given stuff for like Temporalis, but even past that, it helps for a lot of other builds.
Yeah, man. It's actually one of my favorite additions in the game. I remember when like Talkative Try did his like community feedback video where he asked a bunch of his community and like content creator friends, like, what does the game need at this point in time? Like, I think for 0.3 before it came out, I said, we need more unique items and like build defining unique items as well. And I think the beautiful thing about lineages is they're chase items, they're target farmable as well. So you for a lot of these things, you mentioned go kill Zesh, you can have a chance to drop his lineage supports. You go to Jade Isles, you might get your Rockiatas. Like there are areas in the game where if you go here and you do this content, you can get this. And there's no downside to them either. It's just like a way to potentially enhance something or completely change the way something works. And yeah, so I'm very excited to see like what lineages are coming in the future because yeah, they're just like a very, very exciting part of the game's itemization.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure.
All right, man. Well, we've done a little bit of the PoE2 intro chat. I would love to get into some Kadachi lore if you're cool with that.
Sure.
All right, man. Yeah. So when did you actually start gaming? I think you mentioned in the pre-podcast before we started recording. So when did you start gaming and what were you playing on when you started?
So I did not grow up with what is it called, the SNS, I think, or the GameCube. My cousins had those consoles. I grew up with a PlayStation, just playing single player games like Jack and Dexter, Ratchet and Clank, or what is it, some Call of Duty, right? Then we moved on to the 360 that came out, more FPS games. I was just a heavy FPSer. I did not know what an ARPG was when I was younger, until I stumbled across this mobile game that nobody will ever know about. I've never met a single person who played it. It's called Arcane Legends, and it was an MMO ARPG, and it was actually phenomenal. It had everything. Fast forward to the future, come to find out they basically ripped a lot from Diablo 2 in the early days, and they had three classes. They had build crafting, which I barely even knew anything about at the time. But that was a super big part of my life, that game. And then we moved on to Destiny when that came out. That was some PvE, PvP. I love Destiny. That was an amazing game for my life. I'm sure a lot of people do. Um, and now we're on to PoE. I played a bit of Diablo 4. That was fun for a little bit. Then I found Path of Exile, and now we have Path of Exile 2.
And now you are very much in the Path of Exile sphere. That's cool, man. So
Yes.
PlayStation 1 had so many good games, dude. I played a ton of it. My cousins had a like I guess not like a cracked version, but they had
Mhm.
so my family's like half Indonesian, so I remember my uncle went to Indonesia and came back with like a stack of like you know for lack of a better word, like, ripped games or whatever, like and so we just had every single game for PlayStation. We were playing, like, these
That's
obscure
crazy.
games. I don't know if you ever remember this game called Pepsi Man. This is a deep cut for people. If you guys are out there listening and know Pepsi Man, let me know in the comments below. It was essentially a game made as, like, a Pepsi marketing campaign in the same format as, like, Temple Run. Like, you remember that mobile game Temple Run where you, like, run and you have to, like, dodge stuff? And it was me and my cousins would spend hours playing this fucking Pepsi Man game. But yeah, we had games like Crash Bandicoot, of course, like Spyro, as you mentioned, Ratchet and Clank, Worms Armageddon,
Spyro was
another huge
great.
one. Yeah, dude, they were so good. PS1 was like an iconic system. And then you said that you ended up moving into Arcane Legends, which was a mobile, like sort of ARPG MMO. When did you like get into computer gaming specifically?
So, truth be told, I'm still not into computer gaming. I own a computer. I don't play on it at all. Like, this just hasn't been a game that's really drawn me to play on my PC. I played, Lost Ark or New World. I played some nice MMOs, but as a console Andy type of guy. Everything has kind of just been there for me, and I've never had to move to my PC. Right.
Oh, okay, that's totally fair. Yeah, dude, I mean, all the power to you. I feel like a lot of people end up like getting on the PC and then staying on the PC. But it's interesting. You've played PC games, but you still prefer console. Um, what about like PC gaming for you? Has it really like grabbed you and said, now you're part of the PC master race? Like, are you just more comfortable being on a console in
Well,
general, or?
I played so when I first got my PC, my first game was Valorant. I played a lot of Valorant on the PC. That was fun. I learned it. I played Osu. That was super fun as well.
Yes, dude.
It's really learning the M&K, right? That's it, right? Past Valorant, you would have to learn M&K on every other game. I played Diablo on M&K. It was nice. I even tried Path 1 with some, and it was nice, but just picking up my controller and I don't know, being able to just do everything with that muscle memory that I already have, I just stuck with it. And PoE 1 with controller at the time was on PC was not very good. So I didn't give it another go on PoE 2. And now we're at the point where I feel like my PC is a bit too outdated to try to run PoE 2.
Okay, I got you. So the muscle memory of the controller is kind of your comfort zone,
Yeah.
your safety zone, and I totally get that, man. Like, especially as playing games for as long as you have, and mostly being a controller, sounds like user for the most part. It's hard to like immediately let go of that. It's very ergonomic. It's very easy on the hands to just use a controller for long periods of time too, and for me, I'm the complete opposite. Where I'm like, if I see a mouse and keyboard, I like jump to it and grab onto it and never let go because I love it. Like even the other, I think last week or I was playing No Rest for the Wicked, another like kind of ARPG Souls like game, and everyone was like, Blaze, you need to play with controller, and I was like, I'm good. I'll just play with the mouse and keyboard. But I get that. I get that. So you mentioned like Destiny is one of your like standout games. Arcane Legends. Is there anything else that you can list before we move on that left like a lasting impression on you as a gamer?
Left a lasting impression. Honestly, not really. Like Call of Duty was big for me in a sense. I didn't just play Call of Duty just to like shoot other people, right? It actually was a big inspiration for my build crafting today, right? I would watch a lot of different Call of Duty videos on their creative class setups here and there, and that that made me want to make creative class videos. So I started doing that
Mm,
a bit. I did my own Call of Duty creative class segment style vids, and I call that build crafting in a way, right? Especially with the newer CODs, they had you doing a lot more stuff to your guns and stuff. So it did feel a lot more like build crafting. That transition to many more games like Destiny, they gave you a lot more build crafting. And then playing games like Diablo, I was like, okay, I understand how this works. It's putting the pieces together. I wasn't the best at it, but we did learn more and it was easier to catch on.
I got you. I got you. It's interesting. I've actually been a big FPS enjoyer for a long time as well. Like starting off with games like Half Life, moving into Counter Strike. I never got into Valorant because I was always playing Counter Strike, but even playing games like Battlefield, Call of Duty when I was a kid, like Modern Warfare 2 was like iconic back in the day. Spent way too much time after school playing Modern Warfare 2 with the homies. But now I'm not really like as drawn to first person shooters anymore. And I hate to admit it, but I'm probably washed now. And I'm probably approaching unk status where my where my reaction time is not where it used to be. And I feel like that's like it's been a nice way to kind of like make the transition to like ARPGs where like you need to be mechanically savvy. Obviously, you need to be, you have good reaction time, especially in like PoE 2 and stuff. But it feels a lot less like sweaty than FPS games. How do you feel now, kind of being way more into ARPGs, like going back to FPS? Do you still enjoy it a lot, or are you kind of feeling like I'm might be done with this soon?
So I'm not like you are. I'm still not too drawn to like FPSs anymore. Like, there's a thought in my well, I'm gonna play I played Arc Raiders. That was pretty fun. I still say I still got it, right? I'm not there yet, and I
Yeah.
fight the urge to say that I'm not gonna lose what I have. I I hope I don't, and it is what it is. But I played Arc Raiders. That was super fun. Marathon is supposed to be coming out next month, I think, and I want to try that. Even getting back on Overwatch, that's been super fun for me. Just like I said, a break from PoE. It's always a little nice. But I never, and it's funny enough, I didn't really think I would enjoy a game like Diablo or PoE. I never enjoyed PvE style games when I started growing more. Like I grew up more. Like Destiny, the PvE side was super boring to me. If it wasn't a raid or if it didn't have my brain moving or like thinking, I would just fall asleep. When I found Diablo, I was like super surprised that I like the game because it's just about killing monsters. You're not PvPing anyone. You're just killing monsters. But the build crafting is what made my brain keep moving, and that's what I like about ARPGs is the keeping your brain moving through the build crafting.
For sure. You're kind of like, in a sense, competing against yourself a little bit. Like you're
Yes.
learning constantly, you're experimenting. And yeah, you're absolutely right. There's a lot of like moving pieces. And even though it's a completely different genre, it activates like the same mechanisms in the brain and it feels insanely good. Like, if you get like an insane kill streak in Call of Duty or Battlefield, it feels just as good when you like have a breakthrough on a build or craft a new item or something like that. And yeah, so I can totally see why it's been a surprising but easy like kind of transition into ARPGs. Um, okay, so after checking out your oldest videos on YouTube, I noticed that you have a video from like 6 years ago. That's like your oldest video on your channel. And so I wanted to ask, what, if any, was the game that like inspired Kadachi to put himself on the internet making YouTube videos?
So while that might be my oldest video on this channel, I actually have a much older channel, maybe from like 9 years ago. And back then, I was just recording on a box TV off of a phone, and I was just playing Call of Duty with my friends. I was putting up, those little montages you would see, trying to be the phase or optic or whatever, right? Or so I was doing that a bit, and then we moved over to like mobile gaming and like I was trying to do Pokemon Let's Plays or Clash Royale. So I was always into wanting to do YouTube for a very long time, especially seeing everybody else like growing up in the PewDiePie era of YouTube. Like seeing all of that made me want to I just wanted to do it. Like, and I always tell myself if I stopped because I didn't stay consistent. It wasn't as serious as it is now because I was just a kid, right? Um, but I always tell myself if I would have just stuck with it, maybe. But who knows, right? I maybe I didn't have a game. I have PoE 2 now, so we'll see, right?
For sure. I feel like it's tough to do, and I'm so new to YouTube, Kadachi. I've like maybe experimented with it a little bit in the past, but I was never like a young person uploading YouTube videos. I was always a consumer of YouTube content, but never had that like passion to actually want to create stuff until really like a year ago when PoE 2 came out, when I really was like, I love this game so much. I like want to make videos about it, which is like a weird feeling. You know what I mean? Like I want to like talk more about this game. Um, so now that you've kind of like found yourself in this sort of like PoE 2 content, do you just foresee for the future like that's like the future of the Kadachi YouTube channel is like this is going to be a PoE 2 channel, or are you kind of still open to like trying out new let's plays and whatnot?
So I know that's like me getting into YouTube now and being more serious. I know that's like a big thing for a channel when it comes to splitting up your content and what you post on it. Some people might not want to see that. Some people might want to. So honestly, I've just thought about keeping it just PoE 2. I've thought about posting even just like some Overwatch stuff, playing with my friends, but I don't know. I don't think people want to see that. I think I would just keep it just as is, post some PoE 2 builds. I'll probably change up maybe the formatting, do some PoE 2 challenge level things in the future, but past that, nothing really different.
I got you. I got you. Okay, so yeah, no, I feel like that is a good call. I've heard from many different people that like once you sort of establish like your niche, which is obviously now like build crafting in PoE 2, a lot of people do like Path of Exile and Path of Exile 2 content, but even fewer people do like build guides and like build content. And so I think you've already like established yourself as like somebody who's like really passionate about this. Aside from like, making builds as a sort of way to like activate your in your brain the same feelings that like FPSs did, is there anything else that's like really kept you sort of intrigued with the build crafting concepts? Like, is there anything else that you can explain to me and sort of like, this is why I love it and this is why it's kind of been like the subject of my channel for so long?
So I guess I can give like a small example. Probably be like the Oracle in PoE 2. Um, that class, like whoever made that class or Ascendancy needs like a hug. It is given so much variety to the tree. Like I love the tree for PoE. Just the amount of things you can do with the Oracle, if you know how to work your way through the tree, it's actually ridiculous. A lot of people think it's a bit too easy or whatever, but I just like the creativeness of what you can get from that ascendancy. Being able to take the notables on the keystones, or I mean, the inevitable crits aside, that's a bit broken, right? But um, just the creativeness of it. That alone is the type of things I like to see in this game to just keep me going. Right. Past that, just the skills, more cool skills would be great. One of my favorite skills in the game is Ember Fusillade, and just the way it works, the way it functions, the way it shoots. I like that. You got me hooked right there.
I love that answer, dude. Not having played Oracle makes me feel embarrassed to say that, considering how much you love it. But I'm very aware of its like flexibility. It feels like, as you mentioned, like it kind of feels like sort of the way that Pathfinder feels now, where like because you can relocate starting points on the passive tree, it actually opens up a lot more like potential builds, just from utilizing that specific like part of the ascendancy, and that type of stuff really is like enabling like different builds just because you're able to well I with the oracle specifically unlocks a lot more nodes on the tree so you can actually like maybe achieve certain things that you couldn't otherwise if you were in that area. But I
Mhm.
love seeing those things, and I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a lot more like flexible like classes. It's funny you mentioned when I was playing Diablo earlier, like how do the builds feel in this game? Is it kind of like you choose your class and you're stuck with it, or is it kind of more like open ended? And while I like that design aspect of Diablo, where like if you pick like a sorceress, you are a sorceress. You're not going to be putting on a mace or an axe and like running around and doing like mace and axe things. You're going to be like casting spells. That's the beautiful thing about PoE, right? Is like, there is this underlying decision of your ascendancy and how it impacts your decisions. But other than that, like the doors are completely open for you to do whatever you want. Yeah. Okay, so basically, you had a big video pop off. You've had quite a few like build videos pop up, actually, like 10K plus, which is excellent. Your most successful one that I saw on your channel was the Primal Strikes Lightning Spear Amazon build from zero point 0.4. Um, Despite this being like your most like viewed video, do you have any other builds that stand out to you as being like your favorite ones that you've created so far?
So aside from Ember Fusillade, any Ember Fusillade build that I put out, that skill has just been super fun. Before they changed it. The last build I put out, my Mjolnir Lightning Conduit Oracle, that was super fun. We used Forge Hammer, just being able to throw the hammer and bring it right back like your Thor, and also using a skill that's been never used since zero point 0.1. They absolutely gutted Lightning Conduit. Nobody has touched it at all. And it actually showing amazing progress, like one-shotting bosses. That's just super fun. Uh, Past that, concoctions have been also very fun. I really, really, really wish GGG would buff concoctions again. They have been guttering those things for the past 2 seasons, but we'll see. And that's really been it, to be honest.
I think there's a lot of people that are going to be very excited to hear you say that. I have a couple of homies that were like so in love with concoctions. Shattering Concoction was a build that was actually really, really strong in like zero point 0.1. And it feels like, and I don't know why this is. I wish I could have like more insight to this, but for some reason, some stuff like that that wasn't like broken just got just nerfed to the ground, and I don't understand it. I don't know if Hex Blast is the same way. I never played Hex Blast, but I know it was very good in zero point 0.1. But was it good enough to deserve being utterly unusable for the next like 2 or 3 seasons? I don't know. Um, that being said, I feel like they're aware of it, and sometimes when they it feels like when they don't have a solution to something, they just completely remove it until they're able to figure it out. It was kind of like Grim Feast, where like it was insane recovery, like the best ES recovery by far in the entire game, in a in an ecosystem where Energy Shield is already so good. And so
That was
they
crazy.
just took it out of the game, right? For like a full season. Like, yeah, this is just we're gonna come back to that. We'll put a pin in this. We'll come back to it. So
It's
hoping
been so long, I don't even remember, like, how Grim Feast felt like,
it was so
but
good,
I know
dude.
it was broken. It was broken.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that concoctions kind of feel the same way, where it's like they've had a pin on it. Maybe they just haven't exactly figured out what they want for it. Are there any other skills as we're talking about this that you feel like need some love right now?
So, like you said, right, in zero point 0.1, you felt like a lot of skills were nerfed and, like, completely deleted. Freezing shards, like, a lot of first off, I think a lot of the basic skills, spells need to be buffed for sure, but freezing shards is definitely one of them. I saw one person do a freezing shards build in zero point 0.1. It wasn't super crazy. You could do the highest tier of Zesh, but it was meeting GGG's vision damage, right? But it was very interesting, and they did it on a Pathfinder. But then they nerfed freezing shards, and at that point, it's like the build wasn't really the skill itself wasn't really functioning very well. So why would nerf it? You know, and they definitely have done a lot more of that too. So hopefully they take a look at these things and the usage rates. I've tried freezing shards again this season, and it's still just a bit lackluster, even with the staff buffs, right? So hopefully GGG takes a look at these things.
I think I would love to see something maybe in zero point 0.5, and I'm not sure if you've considered this. You probably have, where you do like a wheel spin build, where like, they're quite popular. They do quite well. You know, my homie Schwingy does them. Basically, that's his whole shtick, right? Is he just does wheel spin builds and beats the campaign with them. That's kind of the end goal. It would be cool to see like a Kadachi spin on that. Very much pun intended, by the way, but not necessarily showing the entire like campaign journey, but like cooking like a crazy build based on just like random factors. Have you ever considered like doing adding in some more like variance into the way that you decide to choose a build?
So at this like dry streak, I think I have maybe two more build videos that I would put out. But past that, like I've considered that. I literally was thinking about it maybe like 5 days ago. I was like, maybe I could do like a spin style thing, and maybe somebody can tell me like what build I should do or something like that. That would be pretty fun.
Yeah, you could even have your community be like, just vote on the ascendancy and the skill, and like Kadachi, cook it up, man. Like, make it happen. And I'm sure you could come up with some pretty cool stuff. As a sort of a closing question before we get into more gaming and Path of Exile related stuff, even though we've been talking about it quite a bit, it's something that I like to ask a lot of content creators. How do you find balance right now between your gaming and content creation and all other aspects of your life, like work and whatnot?
So that's a very good question. I I have 7,000 hours in this game. I have been I've put unhealthy amounts of time into it. I've stayed up late nights. In the beginning, I was staying up crazy late nights. But I do have a very nice job. I love my job. I have a very supportive boss. She knows I do content, and she gives me days off for league starts. And she's super supportive of the channel. She actually wanted me to tell her I was doing this podcast, and uh, it's just great. So she definitely helps with that. And past that, I have a nice schedule, so I'm able to just grind and get these videos out when I can. I always try to give it a 6-day upload schedule at most. Somebody in the comments said, "Is she hiring?" But I try to give it a 6-day upload schedule at most. I don't try to stretch it past 8. I do believe in following out of the algorithm, so I don't want that to happen. So I just try to have a video out on time, right? And past that, I think it's been pretty good. It's really staying consistent and not procrastinating. That's super big.
I know what you mean, man. Also, yeah, shout out to your boss for being super supportive of you, not only like gaming, but doing content around your gaming and whatnot. Like, that's a pretty kick ass boss. So props to her for being a legend. Even getting like days off for league start, like, and she knows that that's what you're up to. Like, you don't need to take a day off to go, do something like important in a life related format. It's like I want to just blast on league start, and she's like, "All right, Kadachi, you got this. Go nuts!" Like, yeah,
No,
that's a super cool.
literally.
That's a super cool boss. And then it sounds like other than that, you're pretty busy with like the schedule that you have set for yourself, where you're kind of like, I need to be always working on something. As a follow-up to that question, do you ever feel like you don't wanna do it, but you have to? Or is it kind of like, I always wanna do it?
I really always want to do it. I tell people a lot, like even if I wasn't making content on PoE, I would probably still be super into just the build crafting aspects of it, right? Like that would kind of be the reason I would play the game. In PoE one, when I first started, I wasn't build crafting. I was just following Jung Rowan builds every season, just playing multiple different characters every season. My friends would ask me, "Bro, why are you playing so many different characters?" Like I just think it's fun. Different builds. It's always just super fun. And you learn a lot just from playing different builds.
100%. That's how I think most people generally learn how to craft their own builds is just by following guides. It's kind of like a cycle, right? Where you start off as somebody who has no idea what's going on, and so you get into build guides. And if you're lucky enough to find somebody like, Jung Rohn or another amazing like build creator, you actually learn like from their guides how to actually think about the way that they're building characters, coming up with like different synergies and whatnot, what items to use. And then you start thinking about it in terms of like, how can I do this or how can I adjust what they're doing and make something new? The way I always look at it is like cooking, dude. Like if you're cooking and you're just starting out, like you're following recipes like to a T, like, oh, I need to put like 2 tablespoons of salt in here. That's a lot of salt, maybe 2 teaspoons of salt.
Yeah.
But and then over time, you're like, "But what if I use, like, Cajun salt or something instead, and how is that gonna taste? What kinda changes is that gonna make?" And then, over time, you're literally just coming up with, like, entirely new recipes, and that's kinda where you find yourself at.
No, for sure.
Yeah, so, as somebody who does a lot of build craft, is there anything that you kinda, like, give advice-wise to people that are looking to start making their own builds? Like, how would you sorta guide them? Or what kind of train of thought or advice would you give to those people?
So I do see I meet a lot of people who do tell me like they want to just make their own thing. They want to do their own thing in this game per se. And I always just say, and it's really coming from them not really knowing too much about the game, the tree. So I really always just tell people like, just follow this guy's build. And if you don't want to follow this guy's build, look at their build and try to understand why they are making the decisions they are making when they select this node on the tree or get this piece of gear. But it's really playing the build that will teach you the most. If you play this person's build and instead of just playing it for fun, play it to learn the build, like why they did this, you will learn why they did it and you will be able to incorporate that in your own craft. And I always just keep reiterating that a lot to people.
That's really good advice. I think that the problem lies with people not wanting to think, which is gonna sound bad, but some people don't want to, like, actually take the time to think about things, and I've had a few builds, I've not nearly made as many, build guides as you have. I think I have, like, 4 right now, and I remember I just was speaking with a person in my community who was following one of my builds, like, to a T, and I had made an error in my mobalytics where I didn't organize the priorities of the notable of the passive tree notables. And so he asked me why his build was shit, and I was like, "That build's not shit. That build's amazing. I got to level 99 in hardcore in that with that build." And I looked at where he was at with the tree, and he just completely missed like some core stuff with the build. And I was like, "Oh, like why didn't you take these nodes?" And he was like, "Oh, well, you didn't prioritize those, so I just completely passed those." And I was like, "Oh my goodness." And it kind of made me think like there are a lot of people out there I think who just, they want to follow a build, they don't want to think about it, and that's okay. But I do completely agree with you that like the thought process, if you're following a build, thinking about the decisions and why they're being made, and also just like thinking, what if? Like, what if I try something else here? What if I do something else? Could it be better? Would it be worse? Like, I think that's like the perfect like first step into being able to like come up with your own solutions as well.
And I will say this also might sound bad, but I get this a lot. Be surprised. Reading is probably one of the hardest bosses in this game.
Damn, dude. Yeah, it is true, man. It's funny because that's a total meme, right? Like in the PoE community and ARPG community in general. Like reading is the final boss. No one reads and stuff like that. And it's so important. It's crazy. It's like
It's so important, man.
it's so important. And so here's another thing that I think it's funny. A lot of people want this. I remember when this was added into Dota 2. I don't know if you ever played like any MOBAs and stuff before, but so in Dota 1, you would have to build your character very similarly to how you would build a character in an ARPG. You would level up, you get skill points, you would assign those skill points to different skill abilities. So you have like your ultimate, your various other skills, and you build your character based on which skills do I want first? How do I want to prioritize these skills? Do I want more like crowd control or CC, or do I want more damage? And then on top of that, you're building items as well. And then those things create this character that you're fighting against other people with in the MOBA. But then they added in Dota 2 a import build feature where it was basically like you literally have somebody who does all the decision making for you, and then every step of the way, it's like, boom, take this skill. Now you build this item. Now you take this skill. Now you build this item, so on and so forth. And I think a lot of people want that in PoE2 or in ARPGs. And to me, that just seems like a travesty because one of the most fun parts of the game is this whole brain puzzle, as you mentioned, like tickling your brain, right?
So it's funny that you say that because I don't like MOBAs. My friend group love MOBAs, like Smite, League. They're on that every day. So I have dabbled and played with them a bit, and I'm gonna be honest. When I was one of those people. I was looking up what build I should be running in this game for this character, and this was before I started playing ARPGs. But after I started playing Diablo and PoE, and like really getting into the build crafting side of it, I went back to them and I was like, dude, honestly, I feel like I can get into those games and like really understand the game, like the items, how they work, which one I should pick for myself. So I definitely think just taking some time to learn definitely helps out.
Yes,
To use-
absolutely. I would be so sad if like one day for whatever reason, I don't think this is going to happen. If it hasn't happened in 10 plus years in PoE 1, I don't think it's going to happen in PoE 2, but any other modern day ARPGs that incorporates some sort of like import a tree or import a build, like I really feel like that's just a bad game design decision because you completely like trivialize this beautiful part of why we love these games. So, just a PSA to all the ARPG games out there. Me and Kadachi, we don't want to see it, man. We want you guys to think. Uh, so you mentioned that you kind of got into Diablo a little bit and then you got into PoE. Was there like a story behind how you discovered Path of Exile? Maybe a friend group that got you into it? Give me the scoop on that.
So I had never heard of Path. Like I had one friend who maybe like mentioned it to the friend group, but completely disregarded it at the time. And I played it on my own time for a bit, shunned away from it. And Diablo 4 was announced. It came out. I bought the $100 edition. It's the first time I ever fully got into a game like that. It was pretty fun, right? It was my first ARPG. It was should be fun. The campaign was cool. I spent the entire first season, and this was me. This was my arc of just wanting to be stubborn and try to learn everything myself. I wasn't really doing any YouTube videos at the time. Um, so I started season one. I did not look at any guides, anything. I didn't watch any streamers. I just wanted to do it on myself. And I stuck it out. Was not having a great time. Season two, I came around and I was like, okay, I'm gonna check out these guys and see what they're cooking up because I was definitely doing something wrong. I looked at a few streamers like Woody Joe, saw that there are trees, Paragon trees and whatnot. I was like, I'm doing this completely wrong.
Yeah.
They had a lot more creativeness going on with those trees. So I took a step back. I followed a few like builds just to learn the game for reals. And then I started doing my own thing. I was able to branch off and then I started making my own content for the game. My niche, I had to pick a niche, and it's always been my niche since even Destiny 2 content or Call of Duty. It's always playing with the off meta or the less used thing and trying to bring it to life or compete with the meta or close to the meta. Um, I definitely spend my time using the less used skills, and people like that. So I saw that people like that, and I continue making off meta builds. I then went to like season 4 of Diablo, and I was like, PoE is coming out with a new season. I want to try this out. I think that was Affliction. Tried it. That game was great. I never looked back. Diablo was done out of my memory bank. So I had planned to go back, but I spent my time learning PoE 1, following junk builds, and then PoE 2 gets announced. That was the perfect opportunity for me right there. Um, I said, I'm gonna lock in on this game. I'm gonna learn, make videos on it, and now we're here.
Amazing. Yeah, dude, I remember so fondly the hype period for PoE2. I actually like completely swore off any ARPG for like months before like playing because I was like, I'm gonna go so freaking hard on this game. I don't even want to see a health potion or a sword in a game until I see one, and we haven't seen a sword in PoE2. That was a bad example, but you know what I mean. Um, and then yeah, like getting my hands on it just completely fell in love. When you started playing it for the first time, what like stuck out to you as being like, "Yo, this game is off the hook. This game's amazing."
Well, as someone who plays PoE 1 on console, like since I got into the game, the graphics, whatever, and especially getting into maps, it gets completely awful. Like you can't really see shit, to be honest.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but PoE 2, when I first loaded it up, it looked phenomenal. The graphics completely amazing. The sprinting wasn't in the game at the beginning, but just the movement, like everything looks so much better than PoE 1. It was a indefinite upgrade to the game. I loved it. Um, the characters, just the skills, everything just felt so good, impactful. And then they added sprinting, and that really changed the game.
That was a huge game changer. Dude, I know exactly what you mean. Like when I hopped in the game, of course, it's like it really does feel next generation when it comes to like the graphics, the visuals, the animations are really, really clean. Like comparing it from to PoE1 animations where your character's just going like this the whole time, like like stabbing the air and like abilities are happening to like, you know,
No, literally.
yeah, it's incredible. I actually spent a lot of time just like moving through each environment and like zooming in like super close on like random shit that was just like placed throughout the game. Like there'd be like these little bits of the world that like have exist in there that would just like grab my attention. I'd be like, holy shit, like these different zones all felt so different from one another. Even from like going from Clearfell to the Red Veil to the Grim Tangle, like all of those zones sequentially are just completely different. Different monsters, different vibe, different color palette. Like that for me was like this game is going to be special. Like if I'm experiencing and it does, like You move through every zone, and it's just a completely different vibe. It feels so fresh every time you load up into, like, a new area, right? Okay, so we talked about how amazing the gameplay feels upon playing it. There's another amazing part of the game that I love to talk about with different creators, and that's the community. So I always talk about how this community, and you've played a lot of FPS games, right? So you know that, like, I think intrinsically, and in a lot of video game communities, there's a bit of like toxicity, and of course there is that in PoE as well. But for the most part, it's incredible. Like it's hands down for me, like the best community that I've ever been a part of in like any video game, which is like it says a lot because I played a fuck ton of video games in my day.
Yeah.
Why do you think that this community is so special and has that like secret sauce to it?
I agree, and this being like one of the best communities, and that's coming from like Destiny was all right. It had I like Destiny community because you get into a raid with people, you get to, I mean, it would get toxic, just just as anything, but it was great. Some people were nice at helping, and it's the same way in PoE. I hang out in the both the community discords quite often, and there are a lot of helpful people in there. It can get toxic, but there's a lot of helpful, welcoming to new players type of people. Everybody wants to learn. Everybody wants to build craft, do their own thing sometimes, show off their builds, show off other people's builds. It's great. And the secret sauce, I mean, I don't know. Like, I really don't know why this community just functions better than other communities like the Overwatch or any other game for that matter. Diablo, they got their own things, but just PoE is just special. Like it really is.
It is, and I think a big part of it has to do with, like, grinding your games being so in touch with their community specifically, like, the community is sort of a reflection of the developer in a sense, and, like, I glaze GGG all the time. I think they're very well deserving of that, like, they absolutely are in touch with, like, their players. When I, like, transitioned from, like, other ARPGs like Diablo into grinding your games as Path of Exile and Path of Exile 2, like, it really sort of, like, made me realize how shitty a lot of other game developers are. I know that sounds a bit harsh, but, like, I was like,
It's the
"Damn,"
truth.
like, dude, like, GGG kinda spoils us, and, like, it creates this really, like, passionate fan base, that I think just genuinely, like, is appreciative of not only, like, all of the value that the game has because the game provides you with so much value, right? Like, you said yourself on the podcast, 7,000 hours from, like, an initial, like, $30 purchase, like, that is insane value, right?
That's the most I've ever put. Like for $30 for me to play a game that long is absurd. Like
Yes, and the crazy thing is that, like, people have had that much value in spades playing PoE1 for free, and of course, the game isn't, like, free, if you ever wanna
yeah,
actually play the game, you're gonna need to get your stash tabs up and stuff like that, but, like, generally speaking, if you buy a couple stash tabs on PoE1, you can play that game for hundreds of hours and just enjoy yourself with, like, very little, investment,
yeah,
and I think that, like, that reflects in, like, a very, like, appreciative and, like, goated community, yeah, GGG is awesome, man. Props to GGG for creating these awesome games.
literally.
Okay, so another part of the community that is very exciting is ExileCon. I haven't had a chance to actually talk to you about this, so any thoughts on asking your boss to get some time off in November for ExileCon? Maybe a little bonus to cover the tickets. What are you thinking? Are you gonna come through or not?
I would love to go to ExileCon. I really would, but the expenses. That's it. It's really just the expenses that are keeping me from getting there. So I'll probably just watch from the sidelines, and one day, maybe on the next one, I'll get in on that. I've never traveled, and then that would be like my first time, but it's really getting passport and all this and that. So that's prep. Maybe for the future.
I hear you. It is expensive. I don't think that like I'm sure there's gonna be another one after this. Like, I think from what I've heard through the grapevine from other people who've like gotten closer to GGG, what they've told me is like every time they do an ExileCon, they're like, okay, we're never doing this again. That was too much work. That was that was a lot. Holy shit.
And
But then the
isn't
years
this
go by and they have another like big update or big release or a big announcement. And I don't know, dude. For me, like as a diehard Blizzard fanboy from a very young age, like Blizzard was responsible for like all of my childhood games on the computer. I always wanted to go to BlizzCon, man. I always wanted to go there, meet the World of Warcraft guild, meet the people I was playing StarCraft 2 with or Diablo or whatever. But I was always too young and too broke. And so like for me, now that I'm so in love with like the Path of Exile community and this game, like I don't know. It is expensive, but to me, it's like these are. It's hard to put a price on like memories that last a lifetime. You know what I mean? And like, yeah. So that's kind of my thought process about it. But I'm also in a fortunate state where like I can afford to go. It's obviously not cheap, but like, yeah, those. I'm prioritizing the price of it as like the memories. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So speaking of announcements, what do you think they're cooking up for ExileCon in November, bro? What are your thoughts?
So, I mean, since we don't have a date on the next PoE 2 season, and what PoE 1's next season's coming out in March, I don't know. Like, my question to you would be: do you think the next PoE season's going to come before ExileCon or after?
That's a good question. So we were talking about this in stream. I believe there was a talkative try video that just came out today. So it's good that you asked this question because I think this would actually apply to a lot of people who don't maybe know about this. But there was a video that came out from Talkative Try where he had some footage of Jonathan speaking to the Chinese Path of Exile community, and he addressed them and also said that PoE 2's next league will be in end of April, early May. Okay, so that was like confirmed by Jonathan Rogers. It hasn't been like blasted by like GGG at all or anything like that, but it's funny. There is this sort of like broken telephone between like the PoE 2 community in China and the PoE 2
Yeah.
community in the West or whatever. And so if that comes out in May, then we'll see like May, June, July, August, and then
Okay.
December would be the next one after that. And so there's looking to be 2 patches. So potentially like zero point 0.5, zero
Yeah.
point 0.6, and then what a lot of people are thinking, Kadachi, is like, dude, 1.0 is coming in December. What do you think?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't.
Mm.
I think it's just too early. It's just too early in the stages. Maybe just the next like a what is it? What do they have that they show all the update a roadmap? Maybe a roadmap per se, but just maybe I don't think GGG would do that, but just I don't know, a full blown announcement on 1.0 is just hope to me.
I don't know. It's
Definitely
crazy.
some big just some big updates for sure.
It has to be huge, right? Because
It
if it's
has to be
Exile
huge
Con worthy, you know it's
for
going to be a
sure.
banger. And
For sure.
I think everyone's mind instantly goes to 1.0. And so I was talking with a few people about this. I was talking with Dead Rabbit about this on the last episode, and he was saying that, you know, realistically speaking, the game, they've been very upfront in saying that the game can release without all the classes as long as like the campaign's done. And like if you lay it out, like, let's say zero point 0.5 is the end game, zero point 0.6 is like act 5, and then the next patch after that is like act 6, which would be December, which would be 1.0. So December gives us the final act and maybe another like class or two. That's like all they kind of really need to like release the game. End game, 2 more acts, which could be very close to being complete by now. And, hopefully swords and something else, right? Like, when you kinda break it down like that, it's like, I feel like we're not that far
Yeah.
away, dude.
That's fair. That's definitely fair, especially given like they literally said we're probably not releasing with all classes. So with that being said, right there, they give up a lot more like development time to other things. So that's definitely in the realm of possibilities. I can see it. I just think it's a little cold, but I can see it. I can see
You're cautiously optimistic. It's actually, like, the way that I've been sort of, navigating these things every time, right? Where I still feel like I'm getting used to how much stuff, like, GGG is capable of cooking in one, like, 4-month cycle.
it.
Like, I remember
Yes.
when zero point 0.3 came out, I was like, "What the fuck? Like, how are they doing all of this shit. Like they're adding in interludes and sprinting and lineage support gems and the abyss mechanic and the list goes on. I'm like, bro, this would be something that I'd be paying money for if I was playing Diablo 4 100%. And this is just like a point 3 update in an early access game. And so that kind of and that's this sort of circles back to what we were saying earlier. Like they set the bar really high and for good reason. Like, again, the value that they produce with this game is unreal, right? And so I'm still trying to rein it in, dude, on like what my expectations are. But deep down, I'm starting to learn like they're really like able to do a lot in a short amount of time.
It's actually crazy.
Yeah. Like, let's talk about the end game for a little bit. So, what are your thoughts about the current like end game right now? Are you a fan of the Infinite Atlas? Are you a fan of the Atlas progression with the corrupted Nexus? What are your thoughts about the state of the end game currently?
So I do like PoE1 style of uh, how you progress the atlas, how there's set maps that you would farm. But I also, on the other hand, do like PoE2's Infinite Atlas on you don't get to farm the same map. You don't get to do dunes 24/7 anymore. And you kind of have to do Savannah every so often, right? Um, I just think it needs. I like the direction they're taking when they added the boss maps or the citadels. I like that, but I think we need just more stuff like that. Um, and once they start adding more pinnacle content to the game, more beneficial items to these pinnacle content, I think it'll get a lot better. I don't know if they're just gonna. I don't want them to just scrap the Infinite Atlas anytime soon. Maybe after this in-game update, give it another update, see what happens. But I think they should keep going with it before they just say we're done with this. We're gonna go back to the old Atlas or something new. But I think there's potential for it for sure.
I feel like it's pretty close, man. Like I think that there's just a little bit too little agency over like how we navigate it. There's a lot of friction. There's like this it just kind of feels like it's a bit of a jumbled mess right now. And I think like dude, if 0.5 was one feature and it was a search function on it, I think that would like change the game. Like it would just be like,
Oh my.
bro, if I could just search for Savannah and just be brought to the closest one and then be like, okay, I need to go here to get my Savannah here, and then I need to go over here and do that. It's like that would just give us that little bit of extra agency, right? To be like, oh, now I can not necessarily like have that map to do all the time, but know where the next map that I want to do is, and then do that. Um, and then you can use that for like so many different purposes. Maybe like another QOL thing could be like telling us which boss is on each map. Like there are so many maps, even right now in like 4 acts plus unique maps. I think there's like 80 different maps right now, dude, in the Atlas. That's gonna get even crazier when there's 5 and 6, acts 5 and 6 in the game. Like we're talking like 100 plus different types of maps in the game. Um, and it gets confusing, dude. Like I honestly can't remember sometimes all the like bosses on the maps. Like, oh, yo, which boss is on like Epitaph again? Oh, it's like a Cinia. Okay, got it. Like, I'm still trying to figure that out. And so, dude, I think that those two things, which are just like such small like QOL things, would just go such a long way.
No, I agree. I do think, it does need more of the QO, especially on the console side. I agree with the search bar. I say that every time I get on my Atlas and I'm looking for a map. I'm like, dang, I just really wish I could just search this up. I mean, they gave us the bookmark feature, which was like a band-aid fix if you ask me, but definitely helps, right? When you want to set it on those legendary maps, the unique maps to go back to them whenever you want to stack up a bunch of those, just some citadels. But the search feature would definitely help a lot.
Oh, dude, that's like my number one wish list. And I think I don't know for sure if it's been confirmed, but I know that it's been asked in an interview before and they've talked about like, oh, we're working on it sort of thing. Um, like to go even beyond with agency, I don't know because the more agency we get in PoE 2, the closer it ends up becoming to PoE1. And I do like that there is some like randomness to it. Like there's a lot of like um RNG in the game for better or for worse, but that kind of makes it have its own like flavor of endgame, right? Whereas with PoE1, it's like you can just do whatever you want all the time. And a lot of people like that. And that's why people revere PoE1 endgame as like the best endgame in any ARPG. I think that PoE2 can get there though. Like it's just dialing it in. Like I don't know necessarily if we need Orbs of Horizon, like you know how you can like reroll maps and stuff. Like I don't know if that's a thing we should put in the
Yeah.
game. What are your thoughts about like being able to like change the map layout with an item?
I don't know if we need Orb. I just I don't know what directly the Atlas would need because we were always asking for more. Once we get a change, we're always wanting more to be added onto it.
True.
No, actually, the Atlas tree needs to definitely be looked at. I think that is like a major start, and I think that's what's going to be touched next season. Personally, is
I
the
hope so.
Atlas tree. That would probably make a lot more like customization to what
Yeah.
we're doing.
Oh yeah, dude. I think that the PoE1 Atlas progression's like so much better. And I know that this was sort of like a haphazardly put together Atlas tree in an end
Mhm.
game that gone kind of got cooked before the game released, like whatever it was, 6 months ago or something. So at the end of the day, I'm very grateful that we had an end game because as much as I love the game, even like the bare bones end game that we have, or I guess it's not as bare bones anymore with like the temple and abyss and stuff like that, has still given me so much more like time than just like running the campaign over again would be. Um, but yeah, dude, I want their end game to um, have a bit more agency, but still feel like the PoE2 style. I think that that's important. Like, there's a lot of things that were deliberately designed, even from just like the general progression curve in PoE2, that's meant to feel like pretty significantly different from PoE1. Yeah, what are your thoughts about like even decisions like move speed and stuff like that? Like, are you happy with that current like the current state of move speed in PoE2?
Yeah, honestly, I am. Like, I look back at PoE1 gameplay and I'm like, oh, I mean, you get to zoom fast and flash you the map, but PoE2, I'm actually kind of fine. Like with what they got going on with sprinting and what they just added a new lineage that gives you, I mean, not lineage, a new rune that gives you like 20% movement speed while sprinting this season, and that thing is amazing, right? And I know a lot of people don't like the sprinting or just want base movement speed to be increased, but I think it's in a pretty good spot as it is right now. I know sprinting itself could use some attention because there's times where I'm running into a pack and I just get hit and knocked down just randomly. So other than that, I think it's in a good spot.
I do too, man. And I don't know. I kind of this might have been a hot take. It probably was for a while, but I was always fine with it being slow. I liked the slow aspect to the game. It just felt way more like methodical, and it made it so that when you do get, your 35 MS boots and your, increased effect of your socket and you get your,
Mhm.
boots juiced to like 50+%, like going from that to like the beach to that, the curve felt like really nice. Like it felt really meaningful. Something that I talk about all the time, where like with PoE1, it kind of feels like you hit that threshold a lot quicker. Once you get like Frost Blink and or in Leap Slam, you're
Oh
kind of
yeah,
just flying. And yeah,
100%.
I like how it feels in PoE2 a lot better personally. Just having to start off a bit slower, it makes it so that the journey feels so much better. Even when you get your first 10% MS boots, dude, like that upgrade in itself is just like, yo, like that's noticeable, man. Like, and it feels great.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
All right, so this is a big question. What are some of your hottest Kadachi takes? Is there anything that you have about PoE2, PoE1, hot take wise, maybe that gets you, chatting with your community and stuff like that?
Hot take wise, I mean, anytime I ever like make a video and I just tell GGG not to nerf anything, people are really upset and saying no, they're gonna nerf everything. But I'm a huge believer. I'm a GGG glazer. I always super positive about what they got going on, and I'm just like like we were talking about it. My friends 0.2 to 0.3 were like, dude, GGG can't make this any better. And they just come in zero point 0.4 and just completely kick it out of the water. I can't imagine what zero point 0.5 is going to be. Past that, I mean, I don't really have any hot takes on the game, really.
Okay, okay. Playing it safe. I respect that. I respect that. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Like, for me, there's a lot of takes that I have about the game, but generally speaking, for the like, as same as you, dude. I'm positive. I love the game, and everything that I kind of talk about with regards to like criticism or feedback is just from a place of like, I just want the game to be better. Um, Off the top of my head right now, I feel like I talk about this a lot where I don't even know what my hot takes are anymore. I'm like, what have I said? What have I not said? So maybe we'll pass on this one for now. Moving on to some of the final EOE questions. So I know obviously because your um, main way that you engage with the game is trade league and softcore for the build craft aspect. I wanted to ask you, have you ever thought about SSF gaming or even hardcore gaming on Path of Exile?
I have, especially talking in your streams. I definitely have, and then in these times where it gets a little dry, it's really just down to the build crafting aspect. Like, yeah, I could definitely buckle down, do hardcore, and tell myself like I'm about to try to make a hardcore build, like a build specifically just to get through the entirety of hardcore with Uber Arbiter done. I just haven't had time to get to it. I've never been one that risk is just you lose everything if you die. And I've the only thing close to like a not even like a risk game mode would be what Ruthless and PoE 1. I played Ruthless and just before PoE 2 came out, just because I heard that's how PoE 2 was gonna be, which it wasn't at all. But past that, I've never just thought about getting in that hardcore. My friends wanted me to, but maybe one day. I played SSF, so maybe I'll get hardcore is the next thing. We won't just say we'll never play it. I'll definitely try it one day for sure.
Okay, that's I like to hear that. I think that it's just a completely different way to enjoy the game. And I talk about this all the time because I'm so passionate about this game mode. I think it would be perfect for folks like you who are, you know, going really hard in one aspect of the game, but then this would actually completely like flip it on its head. And the cool thing about hardcore is that the build crafting aspect of it, and I know this is your favorite thing about the game, so it might be a little jarring at first, isn't the most important part. It's just the journey of like survival through the game. The build craft aspect obviously is important because that build is going to keep you surviving. So you have to be very like specific about how you're building your defenses and stuff like that. But I think it would completely open up a new way for you. Maybe if you're feeling a little burnt out to be like, I'll just go in there. I'm not going to be able to do any crazy shit right away. Maybe down the road, if I get far enough, I can do some crazy shit. But just the adventure aspect of it, like it plays more like a survival game, which is it's just cool that that's just a potential way to enjoy the game that's completely different, which I love.
No, I would definitely try it out. Like I feel like I always tell myself it, like when I look at it, I'm like, well, with how long I played the game and as many times as we've done this same boss every time, I would say I think I got it right. I think I can handle a few mechanics here and there. I've had the mechanic arbiter quite a bit. I think I got it, but just got to give it a try. Find a character maybe that probably interests me. So maybe next week I'll look into it when there's like some new stuff floating around. We'll see from there.
I eagerly await hearing from you when that happens. If you're streaming, I'll definitely watch because I love just like whenever my homies, content creator homies, friends experience it. It's a very special time, and yeah, I think that it really comes down to sort of like getting over that initial like um, I guess that thought process of like maybe this isn't for me sort of thing. Because I think that completely goes out the window, and most people I think get really interested in it. Absolutely.
I've
Yeah,
seen it. I've seen it. People, a lot of the like Cal Torek, I think also just played it and he's actually pretty interested.
it's a game changer, and it's perfect. It's perfect when it's like low season, low tide in PoE when sort of the hype dies down Just if you want to keep playing the game and enjoy the game.
Yeah. Oh, I think it offers a lot of replay value to
It
the game
does.
for sure.
The fact that
A
you've
lot of
gotten so many hours from playing softcore, like, dude, if you became a hardcore Andy for like a patch or something, like,
replay.
holy, like that is some serious replayability, bro. Um, yeah, so I kind of moving on to sort of more closing questions, more lighthearted closing questions. So I like to ask this to everybody. Have there been any like standout moments from you from your like or like highlights that you've had throughout your like content creation journey thus far over the last like couple years?
Honestly, like when I finally started locking in and getting consistent on the weekly schedule, just seeing the growth of the channel, seeing people like you, like Kaltoric or any other, nice known content creator just comment or support the channel is huge for me. I've never, been around that type of vibe. I've always been trying to kind of just doing it solo, um, not really communicating or networking with anybody within the community. So this is big for me. I love it. It's great. It's super vibe, and I'm here for it.
I love that, dude. I feel like it kind of goes like full circle back to like the community aspect we were talking about before, where like there's just this like intrinsic support for each other. And it's good that you've kind of like started embracing the yeah, like the community aspect too with regards to like, coming on the pod, chatting with some other creators. I see you in like different streams and stuff like that as well. Because it's hard to go at this whole like content creator thing alone, dude. Like you can obviously do it absolutely, but like having that network of people to like not only support you but help you with like, I remember when you came in to Discord one time, you're like, "Yo, Blaze, like I just dropped a new video. What do you think of it?" And I was in there with a couple other people, and I think we were like, "Yo, the video's sick, but like your thumbnails could use some work." Like as a constructive piece of feedback from like one homie to another. And then ever since then, you've been like leveling up your thumbnail game and stuff like that. And so like that's the type of stuff that I love about this content creation stuff is everybody's out there trying to help you level up. And sometimes it's hard to necessarily like realize what do I need to do in this moment without having somebody who maybe has an eye for it to be like, "Oh, like maybe you should think about it like this," or "Have you ever thought about adding this in?" And yeah, it's pretty fun once you get into the nitty gritty of it for sure.
No, yeah, definitely.
Okay, so um, has there been a video um, from your channel that like you unexpectedly have get a lot of views? Like maybe something that like you made and you're like, "This is gonna flop," and then it just like got more views than you thought.
So honestly, it was definitely gonna be the Primal Strikes Lightning Sphere video. I'm gonna be honest, I did not expect that to get 16K views. That's the most I've ever gotten so far. And I really say that because I started that one, it was a build that I wasn't gonna be playing. I made it because I knew it was gonna be worth playing. I knew it would work, but I made it so that I could play a different build and give people something to play that I knew it was safe. So when I wanted to make my video on the build that I was playing, I would know that it's fine. So it was a gamble. And it's always a gamble. It was my second league starter, and my first one was not as great as this one. So I knew I wanted this one to be good, and I knew I was going to be taking a gamble on whether if people would like it or not. The league started, and I guess a lot of people didn't really like the transformations in the beginning, and they went over to the lightning spear, and it started skyrocketing. Like I did not expect that at all. I wish I put out an update right away. I couldn't because I wasn't playing the build, so the update was late. But I did get it out, so there ends the chapter to the Primal Strikes Lightning Spear.
I think timing is such an important part of like how well a video like performs too. Like I talk about this all the time with some of the other content creator homies. Like as much as I wanted to do a Witch Hunter Shield Wall like HCSSF build guide for this build that I made, um, despite it, I think being one of the best builds I've ever played, especially in this league, like I just don't think it would do well right now because no one cares about builds, or not no one cares, but less people care about builds, right? And so I think to me, based on what you said about how like that build was sort of an alternative to some like different stuff that was happening that people weren't really excited about at that moment. Like you had mentioned the shifting stuff wasn't totally solved, and so this was just like a like good build that worked, and yeah, at a time where people were looking for it as well. I think that's like such an important key factor, and
For
it's
sure.
interesting because these types of thoughts actually help me sort of like figure out what type of content I'm going to make right now. Like as I mentioned, I have all these like build guides that I want to do, but I have to save those for like when they're gonna, like, do well because people aren't looking for builds right now, really. They're looking for, like, the essays and the thought pieces and the, you know, discussion videos, right? Like, the stuff where you're discussing, the state of the game, the problems with it, whatever you may have. And, yeah, so I think timing is just such an important part about that. It sounds like it played a big aspect into why the Lightning Spear Primal Strikes build popped off.
Oh, for sure, for sure. The pieces definitely play together.
Absolutely. Do you have any other, like, um, content that you wanna make aside from build specifically? Like, would you ever consider, like, an essay on the game, especially with all of your time in it, or what are your thoughts?
Um, yeah, I definitely like I did a what I want to see in zero point 0.4 video last season, and I did a hour analysis video. So I plan to do those every season for sure. I definitely want to do those type of videos every season, and maybe like I don't know in the future like how to put together how to go about making your own builds type of video, maybe like something like that.
That'd be amazing, dude. I'd love to see you sort of break it down. Like, I think like Prada has done some sort of like videos like that before, and they've done extremely well. And it is, as you mentioned, a topic that a lot of people talk about, because they are like genuinely curious. Like, how do I? There's no like build guide for making a build guide. You know what I mean? That could be your vibe.
Yeah.
Like, this is a build guide for making a build. It's like, you know what I mean? And it's cheeky, but it's a good idea, dude. I'd love to see your stab at that. Absolutely. All right, so this is a good one. If you're going to get a friend into the game, I don't know how many people you've converted into Path of Exile 2 addicts at this point, probably a few. What advice would you give to like a brand new player to help them like make their journey a little bit easier?
Any advice that I would give to a brand new player, I would just tell them to straight up follow a build guide. Please just make it your first goal to follow a league starting build guide, not just any build guide, a league starter to get your grounds on the game and learn it. Learn the game for what it is rather than just trying to shoot yourself straight in there into a blind forest and not understanding anything that's going on. I have a friend. He's never played PoE in his life. Just like you said, I did convert one friend. He's never played PoE in his life, and I also never would have expected this friend to play PoE. He's never been this type of guy, but I got him in the game. He loves playing it with me every season. He plays the monk, he plays the warrior, he does build crafting, but he has knowledge from previous games to build craft. So he does do his own thing. Is it always perfect? No, but does he get the job done? Yes. So I definitely just, and he does take inspiration from other builds. So I just learn from other people. Don't try to go at it alone. That's literally my advice.
I love it. I wish I listened to your advice when I first started playing the game because I went in completely blind and I played the warrior in zero point 0.1. I guess there wasn't really
Oh,
build guides out when the game came out, right?
yeah.
And
There
so I
wasn't.
kind of like we all had to go in blind.
Everybody
Um
went in blind.
yeah, and it was really fun. Like, and as a devil's advocate for your point, as much as I think it's amazing advice, I also think there is something magical about hopping into a game and just figuring it out. Like using your brain, as we talked about, reading shit, trying, experimenting with stuff. Like, gold is pretty easy to come by in PoE 2. You can sell some shit that you find on the ground, and you can get enough to respec a few times to try out some new notables or do some new clusters on the tree. Like, as much as Kadachi's Vice is probably going to result in you having a better time, especially if you're a new player, like, I do think that there is something special about just hopping in there and just like giving it a go. And then when you get stuck, as you probably will, the build guides are right there for you. You know what I mean? So get the best of both worlds.
Trial and error is always pretty good as well. There's nothing wrong with trial and error until you get to the finished product.
Absolutely. Okay, this is a tough one too, but I know you got this. Generally speaking, dude, like what have video games meant to you and how have they impacted your life?
Video games are a huge part of my life. I actually at this point in my life treat IRL like it's just another video game. I go to work, I handle some customers like it's Papa's Pizzeria or something, and get home. It's nothing different. I've learned so much from being a raid leader or playing games like Call of Duty and trying to just meta game and learning the most optimal route to take to do this and that. It could be any game. It transitions to IRL. Your critical thinking, your common sense, everything all plays together in one, no matter what way you look at it. And that's just the way I've been thinking about it this entire time, to be honest.
Yeah, no, it's true. It kind of feels like life is just hardcore soul self-found all the time, bro. How about the social aspect? Has video games brought you sort of a new way to approach like socializing with homies and friends and whatnot?
Well, me as a person, like I'm a super outgoing person. Like I call myself an introvert. I do house dwell, but I go out, I conversate with people in the IRLs. It's great, have nice conversations. Majority of my friends are really on the game. Like we all just get on. We don't play the same games. My friends are mobile enjoyers, so we'll just chill in the Discord. But past that, I mean, really just a work, home, chill with the friends type of guy. Nothing too crazy goes on.
Yeah, dude, it's a cozy spot. The Discord server where you got your boys that just pull up whenever they have free time to chat and like, do the whole socializing thing. That's what got me through like COVID, bro. Like straight up. Like we're all trapped inside Discord server with the homies playing Counter-Strike or, Rust was my COVID support game. Talk about toxic communities. Holy shit, that game is a 180 from PoE, bro. I don't know if you've ever played it, but love
Haven't.
it. Face Punch is an amazing studio and they make a great game, but the community for some reason is just wild. But yeah, man, I hear you totally. Like, video games have had such a big impact on me since such a young age, dude. And as bad as a rap as it gets for some reason, I don't know why there's still a stigma in like 2026 about being a gamer. Like I feel like more and more people are gamers these days. And there's just a lot of positivity that it brings like to my life, you know what I mean? Like and I think that's even become even more elevated ever since like falling in love with PoE 2 and starting the podcast and meeting all these awesome people like yourself and many others. So yeah, dude, gaming's awesome. Shout out to all the gamers out there. You guys are fucking legends.
Yes. Shout out to the gamers. Quick question, actually. You're familiar with LARPing,
LARPing, like
live action
live
role
action
playing?
role playing. I've never done it personally, but I've definitely seen it. What's that one movie with Paul Rudd? You know that one movie where he like looks after this kid and he's like into LARPing and shit like that? Remember that one?
I don't remember it off the top.
Hold on, let me look it up real quick. But yeah, go on, go on. Role
Role model.
models. Thank you, Spuds. Yeah, that's a banger movie. Anyway, sorry, please continue, Kadachi.
But no, I say that because when you're asking about the gaming and such and what I do outside, I did find something that I saw on Instagram. It's called Amp Guard. It's like some live action role play thing. And the same friend that I got into Path of Exile, he's super into more stuff like this. I decided, okay, let's go out, let's do this. So Amp Guard has like, it's a PvP type of thing, but they have classes and ascendancies in comparison to Path of Exile, right? Like you could be this, have this weapon, do this and that, cast spells. It's fun, but I easily quickly decided that it wasn't my thing. It involved physical activity, so I let him have that. He loves it. He fell in love with it. He was doing it to this day, but I completely just stick to Path of Exile.
Yeah, dude, I hear you. It's hard to like, I would imagine it's hard to imagine doing the things that you can literally just see yourself doing in game, right? Like if you want to cast a fireball with Nova projectiles on it, you just put that support gem
I'm
in the
gonna
game and you just run that. and you have to have a pretty powerful imagination to be able to run that IRL. No judgment there, though. I feel like if people are into that, which I know they are, I feel like that's amazing. If you can find that sort of like social connection with a group and you enjoy it, and you're in the real world, which is something that is, it gets lost a little bit, I think, with video games. Like sometimes you
Yeah.
prioritize, at least for me specifically, like especially in the winter months, dude, like not leaving the house. And then I got my social time, doing stuff like this and like with the homies on Discord and stuff. So I respect the fact that like he's committed to that and he's also getting that like IRL time as well, which is good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right, man. As a final closing question, I I just wanted to ask you, bro, any goals for this year? We're in like February, second month of the year. Anything that you want to achieve? Is it like, a certain sub count? Is it a new video to pop off? What are some Kadachi's goals for 2026?
My main goal right now, just for the channel in a whole, is really to get to monetization. Like we're very close actually. So I'm gonna be pushing out builds, videos, whatever it may be for the rest of the year. I'm like what 70 subs off of 500, and I just need a few more watch hours, and then we can finally be monetized. So I'm really just gonna be grinding for that. Like that's the main goal right now.
I love it, dude. I love it. That's a big one as well. Getting monetized on YouTube feels great. Then you start getting a little bit of that passive income rolling in, from all the videos that you've done. So guys, if you're listening, this man is 70 subscribers away from his YouTube monetization goal. I think it's 500 subs, right? And a certain amount of watch hours. So if you're watching this, guys, give Kadachi a follow. His name will be tagged in the video and also in the video description. Dude, thank you so much for today, man. This has been so much fun, and I'm really stoked that we got to have this chat today.
Course, man. This was great. I'm be honest. Before I got on here, I was pretty nervous. Never done something like this before, but it played out very well. I definitely enjoyed the questions, and I tried to give the best answers I could, of course. But
Dude, I would not have known that you were nervous at all. You've been like just vibing, chilling. It's been a solid chat. It just felt like two dudes, two nerds just talking about video games. Pretty easy to keep the conversation flowing, man. Yeah, at this point, just shout yourself out. Where can we find you? And what's maybe the next build that you got cooking? If we can get a little sneak peek.
so you guys can find me on YouTube at Kadachi YT. That's gonna be it. And for the next build, I'm really working on a reverse chill tactician at the moment. And after that, I plan to be doing like my 7,000 hour analysis video. That's really what's coming next.
All right, man. I'm looking forward to that. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you're watching on YouTube or Twitch Live, we appreciate you. Or if you're watching the VOD, I also appreciate that. As I said again, make sure to give Kadachi a follow if you want to see some crazy builds and stuff, what he's cooking up on the YouTube. All of that stuff will be linked in the video description. Much love to you guys. You guys are legends, and we will see you in the next one. Peace. All right, everybody, that wraps it up for this episode of the Passive Tree Podcast. If you enjoyed the video, I'd appreciate a like and subscribe for more PoE2 content. I have a bunch more episodes of the podcast lined up with some really great guests, so keep your eyes peeled for that. If you're interested in supporting the podcast and the channel, consider supporting through Patreon. There's a link in the video description. A special shout out to Kevin F. for supporting this channel. I appreciate you. Thank you. And until next time, happy blasting, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.